How you guys doing today?
You're an old man now.
A little bit.
Old hat.
Getting there.
That's what Eric says. What, old hats? Yeah. So he says, got a bunch of old hats, man.
Oh, that's the guy right there.
Yeah.
So returning, does it feel like you never left, or is it big changes for you upon the return?
I had to take a little 1 year vacation. No, I mean, over the last year, just, going home and being able to find myself. The COVID year was really hard for me, just being so far away from family. And, I think my parents came out one time during the COVID year, and I think we were only allowed to have, 4 of your family members at the game at the time. So it was just really hard for me mentally. And, you go home, you find yourself. I worked on a lot of parts of my game. And, coming back here, just going into it open-minded, knowing it's my last year of college basketball, having a good time, engaging in practice, trying to lead the young guys or the guys that have already been here. It's kind of funny because you leave and you learn a bunch of new plays and you come back and you still know all the plays and stuff. So, but I've had a great time so far since I've been back, and, I'm just looking forward to, getting out there and playing with the guys.
The first time you came here, you were a kid who didn't know anything.
Mm-hmm.
The second time you come here, you've been exposed to the world. What's different about it?
Experience, kind of like you said, you come in, you're a child, you don't really, I never lived on my own before. The most I did really on my own was wash the dishes and do my laundry back home. And, coming out here, you have to, your schedule, everything is it's a big shift. So, just going from that, which was 2018 all the way to now, you kind of just learn to be an adult. You grow into an adult and, you handle things a lot different. And then, just learning everything the first time and, using it last year for myself at my other school and, taking the knowledge and stuff that I learned from, another coach and coming back here and applying all of it together. The game is really slow. It's slowed down. Freshman year, you feel like everything is going so fast. But my first game out there, felt like I had bricks in my shoes, when I was a freshman. So, now the game is so slow, and I just, you try to find, times to go fast and go slow, playing with pace and stuff like that. So it's interesting. Basketball changed so much since even my freshman year to now. So it's,
I was going to say, the first time you didn't know what you were getting into, but this time you know exactly what you're getting into.
Yeah. There was 3-hour practices. Those are always great. But it's just, you're playing for the guy, you're playing for the man, and I think he's the best to do it. So, when you're playing for a guy like that, like I said, you pick his brain. He has so much knowledge up there. He's been around for so long. He knows so many people. And, it's almost like anything he tells you, it's right. If he tells you to go opposite, the ball's going to somehow magically go over there, and you're there and you get the rebound. So, I listen to him, and everything he tells me is right. He's never told me anything wrong. So, yeah.
Coach was telling us last week that, even when you transferred, that you guys stayed in touch.
Mm-hmm.
I think some people would maybe not really quite understand that because, a guy leaves and think, bad feelings or whatever. But so when you decide to transfer again, you call him back up, and it just kind of happens really quick. I mean, can you just kind of talk about how that relationship developed, even when, you were, clear over on the West Coast still?
I don't think it was a development thing when I left, just with me and Hug's relationship. Hugs got on a plane when I was a senior in high school. He got on a plane and came all the way to Seattle or Tacoma. So, when you have that, that relationship, and this is when I'm 18 and I don't really know him that much and I'm trying to get to know him. Him and Coach Martin came out on a home visit. And so, just from being here the first time, over that course of the time, like I said, I'm from way out west and I don't really get to see my family that much. So, him knowing that and, he's really, stepped up for me and helped me in a lot of ways that, maybe my parents would, and just life advice, those little things that I need. And, it's easy for me to FaceTime and call my parents, but, when you got a coach that he can also help you, it's really good for me. So, me and his relationship is strong, really strong. If I need anything, I can call him, if I have any problems or, if I'm just a mental lapse day or something and I just need to talk to him, I could talk to him. So, I feel like a lot of people paint the narrative of, when you transfer from a school, it's always got to be a bad thing. And it's never really, more than half the time, I don't think it's really that. I think a lot of guys, they do get homesick. COVID was a hard year for a lot of people, not just myself. And so, dealing with all that stuff, but me and Hug's relationship never changed. We always stayed talking, and, I watched a bunch of the games last year. I'm obviously cool with the guys that were on the team last year, and then, these guys, and obviously Eric and stuff this year. So, it's been easy. It's been pretty easy.
So when you make that decision to go back into the portal a second time, like, was there any hesitation to call him? I mean, was he your first call? I mean, kind of how did that all develop? Because he said it was you that called him, and that's kind of how the ball got rolling.
Yeah, I mean, I took my time with it. I just with everything that's going on, and how college basketball is changing now. You got so many guys going to different places for so many different reasons now. So, I took my time with it, and I just, at the end of the day, this is the best decision for me. I know where I wanted to be. This was home to me for 3 years, and I wish I would have never left the first time. Like Hugs told me in my exit meeting, before I left last time, he said the grass isn't always greener. So I take that literally. So, just you got all that stuff, but you just whatever situation fits you, and everybody's different. Everybody has the things that they like, they don't like, or whatever. And I love everything about being here, the fan base, just the way we play, the style of play, how loud the Coliseum gets when you got a sold-out game, the road trips when you go places and the fans at the other schools hate you because, you're the hardest playing team in the nation. So it's just, those kind of things is stuff that's always stuck with me since, the first year that I was here, and I just love that. I love that environment. I love the culture, and that's really it.
Curious.
When did it hit you that you wanted to not necessarily come back, but to leave where you were? And was there any incident or anything, one thing that came across to you that make that decision?
I don't think there was really any, incidents or like any problems or anything of that nature that was, in the way of that. I think the main thing that stuck out for me was senior night. Being back home, you would think, you have a lot of people that come support and, show you that love that, you want. But, I mean, like I said, nothing compares to being here. Senior night here, you walk out, you got hugs at the end of the carpet. The fans really show up and they show you a lot of love. And because the time that you spent here is, they treat it like it's, the highest thing in the world. So, just when I walked out on senior night, I blinked my eyes and I was like, man, what if I was in the Coliseum right now? And so that was one thing that always stuck with me. And, that's one thing I'm really looking forward to this year is walking out and, being able to, my last home game or whenever our senior night is, and seeing Hugs at the end, give him a big hug and, take a picture of my family and everything. That's something I really want to do.
Keedy mentioned this. I'm curious. Last year's team, obviously you didn't know much about them because you weren't here, but really kind of lacked the competitiveness that Hugs demands from his teams. And Keedy had mentioned in the practices so far, you've had some guys that are really competitive, some older. You were on a good team here before you left. Do you see that competitiveness that he wants in the players and the guys to play the way Hugs wants to play?
Definitely, for sure. I think this is going between sophomore year, I think, was the best team that I was on when we had the first year Deuce and everybody was here. Between that year's team and this year's team, I think it's a lot of the same. I think we might be a little more competitive just because maybe I'm just not noticing it, or just noticing it now because I'm older and, the experience. So, just everybody wants to win. And once you got guys that all buy in, especially in the system that we have here, it works. That's always how it's been. And, you see like freshman year we didn't buy in 2018. And our record, that was a perfect reflection of, what we did as a team. Sophomore year we came back and everybody locked in. We were able to go to Spain. We had a good time. So we came back and we all wanted to compete and win. And I think that is the perfect. We didn't go to Spain. We didn't get a foreign trip this year, but everybody came in with the mindset, okay, we're going to do whatever it takes to win. Whether that's diving for a loose ball, just the little things. And I think this team we focus on those little things a little more than usual, but I think it's a good thing.
Up to the point of getting bloody noses and some of that stuff.
We got a couple guys and got stitches already, banged up guys. You're going into the training room, everybody's getting treatment, so it's pretty good. I love it. I love it.
Coaching Keedy, most of them notice a little difference in your jump shooting form. What did you change about it? Why did you change it?
When I was here the first time, I had a bit of a shoulder issue, just from lifting and putting on weight and stuff. You run into those little issues you have. So I was shooting the ball a little bit from the back of like the side, almost by my ear, to kind of aid the shoulder issue I had. And then obviously I got that all figured out. But once you get into that mental, every time you shoot the ball, you're used to it being here. It's like muscle memory, so it's hard to change. So I had a whole off season back home. Quincy Pondexter. You know, I was fortunate enough for him to be on the coaching staff last year at Washington, and he been in the NBA for 9 years, or I think 9 or 10, and I worked out with him, you know, every day for probably about a month straight, and just it was little things like just form shooting. We'll do form shooting for 30 minutes or whatever, but he helped me a lot, just changing my release, moving it back over to where it should be your traditional shot. So, I just worked on that, and I stuck with it every day. And it's part of the process, part of the grind, and I'm glad with the result. But I'm also still working on that, and that's something I definitely still want to keep getting better at.
Emitt, from a guy from the outside looking in, I mean, there's literally hundreds of things to be interested in with the transfer portal, whether it be the numbers, who's losing guys, who's gaining, that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The part that doesn't really get talked about very much, I wanted to ask you about, there's an academic side to the portal that, in the sense that I'm assuming when you transferred to Washington, you probably lost some credits, right? I mean, probably had to take some classes over, and probably vice versa coming back here. I wondered if guys, college kids, really understand that aspect to transferring, and if you could just kind of talk about that a little bit. How much has that maybe made things difficult?
Just from my personal experience, every school doesn't have the same majors, the same master's programs and all that stuff, like you said. So going from here to Washington, I did lose credits. It placed me back a year in school, so I was a junior, and then I had to change my major to sociology. So when I was here the first time, I was in sport management. That was my niche. That's what I love to do, just hearing about like the back offices and stuff, and wanted to be like Shane Lyons when they potentially, athletic director job. So, you go from that into Soch, and at such a, prestigious school, that's one of the top medical schools in the country. So the schooling was harder. You got different academic people, advisors and everything. So you got to do a whole change. So it's a thing that I think a lot of players do need to look at. A lot of people, I feel like it's something that they let fly under the rug, because it's, when you go to college to play basketball, a lot of kids are thinking, okay, what is it going to take for me to get to the NBA? Right. Not what is it going to take for me to get my degree. So, coming back here, I only had to take 2 classes in my sport management degree over the summer to get my bachelor. And I did that, and I entered the master's program in sport management. But at Washington, I didn't have any of that. So I was, stressed out doing sociology work, and I knew the whole time that I wanted to do something in sport management. So I think a lot of people do need to look into that more, just for that side, the mental side of it. You don't want to get in a situation where you go from, like I said, sport management to Soch. Like, it could be way worse. Kids could go to like ex-phys or something like that. You don't want to do that as a college basketball player. So I just think, like you said, it's something that they need to look more into, and it's a conversation that a lot of kids need to have, whether it's with their parents or, other coaches when they do go into the transfer portal, and make sure that situation is right academically as well as, on the floor.
So coming back here, you gained credits back then, and you got your degree now already?
Yeah, so
okay.
I got leaving. I don't remember all the credits. I think I had 3 or 4 classes I needed to take to get my degree. 2 of those classes at Washington did count in the sociology, and then I came back here and just took 2 classes over the summer, got my degree, and then went right into the master's program when school started.
Okay, so like you'll walk in December then, or?
I'll walk in December with my little sister. Yeah.
Right.
That's the best part about it.
You mentioned your sister, and she's been here the whole time. So you do have family here, is it not? You still have some connection.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, how nice is it to sort of rejoin her again?
It was really cool. She called me all year last year. She's like, "Why did you leave? Why did you leave?" I had to do it for me, But you talk to her all year. It's my little sister at the end of the day, and she's like my best friend. So we spent a lot of this last weekend. You get pizza, hang out, watch football. Like, she doesn't really care what we do. If we're hanging out, we're hanging out. I want to watch football, so we're gonna watch football. So get some pizza, take her to Starbucks, get her coffee, whatever she wants. But it's always good to have family out here, especially just 24/7. You don't really get that often, and if it was back home and I would have went to Washington and she would have went to Washington and family, it would have been like the same situation. So, she, like I said, she's my best friend, and we hang out a bunch.
How strange is it, the journeys that you 2 took, Eric and you, to wind up back where you were in 6th grade? I mean,
Man, I think it was like 2nd grade, 3rd grade, to be honest. But it's honestly crazy. That's been my guy. The journey is, like you said, the journey is crazy. You never know where you can go, who you're going to run into, let alone who you're going to play with. So going from freshman year here, playing with Jordan McCabe, who lived in Washington for a little bit, had a little stint there, and all the way to now, fifth year of college, and, you're playing with a kid that you've played with your whole entire life. Like, me and him have a photo shoot that we did back in high school, our senior year, a little corny photo shoot. We're palming the ball, standing right next to each other, but, we recreated that picture. And, we were able to do that at our fifth year of college, and we make jokes all the time, like, man, we're getting old. It's like, but you never know. Once you leave here, you want to play 10, 12 more years of basketball, but, you just cherish those moments you had over life with them. And, we hang out all the time, too, to this day, and I just love it. It's pretty fun.
Conversations like when you were both in the portal, or?
They were easy. Just, what do you want to do? How are we going to go about this? There is the possibility that we could play together, whatever. And, that's just how it went.
You've played with a lot of different guys here, and then obviously your last stop. What can Eric bring to this team, and can you kind of describe his personality a little bit?
He's fiery. He's got a fire under him, that's for sure. But he's been like that our whole life. Eric he's a closed book, but when the book opens, it's like you get all the chapters in one page. You're like, oh no, what are we dealing with here? But it's always been like that. When we were playing younger, he was always that. He's that fire guy. I'm the ice guy. I try to keep things mellow and calm, and he's ready to run through a wall. So, you get that type of guy, that type of intensity in the team, and then you kind of match it up with what we do have on the team. He pushes everybody to be better in a way that, I think some of the kids or some of the guys on the team are, maybe might be uncomfortable with or were at first. And, you get used to it, and everybody has their own leadership style. You know what I mean? And it's, once you go and you look at everybody, you got, LeBron James, he looks more like a calm leader. And you got guys like Michael Jordan who are, he's going to get under your skin a little bit and push you to be that. And there's nothing wrong with, the different ways that you lead as long as you're leading at the end of the day. So, I think he's perfect, and I think he fits in perfect with the team and what he does as a leader for us. And I think me and him and Keydren, just being the older guys, I think we're able to, kind of craft the team in a way, just make sure everybody's solid and, everybody's been having a good time. Nobody has any issues. I mean, if somebody feels uncomfortable with the way somebody's leading, then, I think we're all comfortable enough with each other to speak up and say that. But there's never been any issue like that so far. So I think he's a perfect fit. It's really the only way you could put it.
Just thinking of you from the time you were here last, I see a more chilled, laid-back Emmitt Matthews. Is that life experiences? Is that just maturity, age?
I'd say it's a little bit of everything. Life is crazy. I think sometimes we think life is moving way faster than it really is, and it's really moving slow. So I just wake up every day. I worry about what does Emmitt have to handle for today, and once I go home at the end of the day, I go over that checklist, and I'm like, okay, boom, boom, boom. If I handled all those things, then I had a good day today. I try not to stress out about little things. I try to stay happy, have fun, smile. Like I said, life is crazy. You never know what you're going to do, who you're going to run into, or where life's going to take you. But obviously, life took me back here, and I'm going to make the most out of the opportunity I do have. So, I'm chill. I'm having a good time. I'm getting old, so I think that's really just what it is.
Last thing here, you got a team full of adults. Mm-hmm. I mean, whereas before you were here, they were basically kids.
Yeah.
There's a different mindset when you've got a group full of adults, isn't there?
Yeah, and then it's also when you play against kids, when you play against other teams that do have those younger teams, yeah. It's a bit of an adjustment. And I think it's really just, okay, I'm about to be 23. I'm not going to let this little 18-year-old kid give me 30 points. You know what I mean? Right. So, like, once you get enough of that age on the team, right. Say now you got 5 guys that are 21 and up. Right. Now you got 5 guys 21 and up. Okay, guard an 18-year-old. And you're like, okay, this kid's not going to do this. So I think the experience that comes with it, you have a lot of guys that have been down in, what we say, the trenches. You've been down in the, the hard times. And, like you got Joe coming from a, big program like Iowa. You got Eric, he's been Wichita State, South Carolina. Me, been here before. Jimmy's been through it all. He's been the highest level, went down, came back up. Right. So, you got all that. Keydren, he's been through the JUCO. He's been here for 3 years. This is going to be his 3rd year. So you got all that, and all that stuff kind of prepares you for this last year and going into it. And I think everybody's going to be on the same kind of calm down, mellow. When if there's 5 minutes in the game and we're down 10, I don't think we're going to have anybody that's like, man, we're going to lose this game. I think everybody's going to be like, okay, what can we do to win this game? How can we, get a stop? How can we, get that bucket if we have to? I don't think we're going to have any issues with stuff like that. I think it's a older, experienced team. Everybody's wise. We know the shots to take, and I think the older guys on the team are doing a really good job helping the younger guys just pace along and, get ready to play.
I'm just kind of curious. This is obviously the age of social media and that kind of stuff. I'm just kind of wondering, with transferring out, transferring back in, did you have to deal with anything like people being haters when you left, and then they were suddenly your friend again when you come back? Was there any, what was the feedback like with this story?
I think there was one high school kid. I don't remember his name, but we used to play Xbox together. He asked me to play with him one day. I played with him. I think I played one bad game, and he sent me a crazy message one time. And I was like, didn't you ask me to play Xbox with you? So now I leave, and I come back, and then he messaged me. He was like, congratulations coming back. And I don't hold a grudge. People get upset with what they get upset with, and I don't mind. I get upset, so, I'm not going to take it out on them, though, but I don't really pay attention to it anymore. I'm getting older, so, words are only going to do so much to me. And so it's not like they're stabbing me in the back, like, you know what I mean? So I think, that's what I'm saying. So, when it comes down to it, it's, sometimes people don't have anything else to do. If they want to live off of them trying to get under my skin, so be it. I'm a college basketball player. I'm living the dream. A lot of people that, do message the basketball players and the athletes around the world are people that just want to be in their shoes, and they weren't able to do it. So, it comes with the game. It depends on how you deal with it, and you just got to be resilient and, realize at the end of the day, your closest people to you, their opinions are what matter the most, and not somebody that just bet $25 on you to score over 11 points and you score 10 and they're mad at you. So as long as we win, I don't really care. Say what you want to say. I got a W under my belt. I'm fine.
Has your body changed? Kedrian mentioned you thought you were skinnier when you came back.
I was definitely skinnier when I came back, but it's a Big 12, Pac-12 difference. You got the Pac-12, which is more of like a transition environment. You're getting up and down a lot more. Obviously, the Big 12 does make a little bit more revenue in sports. So, the food supply and, every school has their own different thing. And so, just coming back here, I really focused on building my body back up. But I also focused on, make sure I was eating the right things, trying to stay away from fast food, eating a couple salads. That was a new thing for me. A lot of fruit, stuff like that. But I think I did a good job of building my body back up the right way. And, now I'm just trying to take care of my body, make sure I'm getting the right treatment and stuff after practice and, just taking care of myself.